Erica, it sometimes
Mhm.
if you do too much.
Think too hard about it.
Yep, absolutely. Well, we're gonna let people roll in here. Looks like we've got
Excellent.
people joining us, so it'll be just a minute and we will get going here. For everybody rolling in here today, thanks for joining us. We will get going in about 30 seconds or so after some of you get a little bit settled. Yeah. And Chris, where do we find you today? Are you home today? Are you
I'm at the office. We're in the office a couple days a week, so we're in Denver.
okay?
So I actually have my dog here today. I've been telling him all day. I'm like, you're going to be on a podcast.
Right. Okay, so introduce while we're waiting here for people to roll in. Can you introduce your dog, Willie
Yeah,
Cordova, and say hello?
let me see if I can find him. He's probably napping. Satchmo, come here,
He's so cute.
come here.
He's like our little mascot when we have
Oh,
calls sometimes. He needs
Oh,
that.
oh my
yes.
goodness.
Yeah. Here he is. This is Satchmo.
Oh
He's like,
my
I was
God.
sleeping, Mom.
Ba-ba-ba.
Oh, what a
Yeah.
cutie. What a cutie.
Yeah. So I've been telling him like we have to go do our podcast.
Yep.
And then I
Yep.
was telling him he was a secret, Satchmo's secret weapon. And I was telling him, what are you going to do on the podcast? And he started barking at me. And I'm like, you can't bark on the
Yeah.
podcast.
Just just chatting with us. How cute. Well,
Yeah.
thank you everybody for joining us today. Welcome to the SIP. We're a space where conversation fuels connection, collaboration, drives innovation. And where industry leaders, like the two we have today, come together to tackle challenges. Just like catching up over coffee, the SIP is all about meaningful discussions that move us all forward. At the Mortgage Collaborative, we're committed to fostering a forward-thinking environment where our members thrive, grow, and make lasting impacts to the industry. Today, we're here to share insights, real-world case studies, and strategies that highlight the power of us all working together. So, a big thank you to all of you on here for joining us today. We appreciate the fact that you would spend some time with us. Today's show is sponsored by Usherpa. In a market where every loan officer is trying to stay top of mind with their borrowers and their referral partners, Usherpa is built to make that happen at scale, without losing also the personal touch, which we all know is actually what wins people's business. So, and we've got exactly the two right people. I was chatting with them before we started off today, I feel like, to dig into that today. So, joining me first is Chris Harrington, the CEO and co-founder of Usherpa. Chris, welcome to the SIP.
Oh, thank you, Faith. It's great to be here as always. I love spending some time with everyone at the TMC family. So hello, everyone, and great to be on the soup again.
Fantastic. You, we also have a terrific lender member voice on here, and we found some similarities, as you always do when you start talking to people that you've never met before. But Erica Smith is the VP of Sales Optimization at Waterstone Mortgage, and has been deep in the work of scaling both technology adoption and production across their organization. Erica, it's great to have you with us today, too.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Yeah, Chris, let's start. We're going to start with you. Let's start with kind of the foundation level. For lenders who haven't crossed paths with Usherpa yet, give us a quick picture. So, what does your platform do, and what is the problem that it's solving for all of our lender members?
Great. Yeah, no, thanks, Faith. So if you don't know about Usurpa, we are a CRM and a marketing engagement platform. We actually really call ourselves a relationship engagement platform. We don't think we're really managing our customers. What we're doing is we're engaging our relationships. So,
Yep.
we're helping loan officers stay connected with their borrowers, obviously prospects. Right now in this market, we've got a lot of prospects, really trying to juggle, stay in touch with all of them. Where are they at? And how do we increase that conversion ratio? During the loan process, I mean, that's table stakes now that you need to have a pretty robust communication process to everyone involved in the transaction, as well as the referral partners. I mean, not just the agents that we're thinking about every day, but financial planners, CPAs, builders. So, how do we, maximize all of those referral partners as well? And then, we really believe in automation with that personal touch. Before we got on the call, Faith was chatting and telling us a little bit about her history and being a loan processor with what, 189 files in your pipeline. Um,
108, not 89,
yeah,
but
okay.
but it was
It
still
was
a lot.
Yeah, that's definitely. And I process loans too. So I know what it's like to walk a day in your shoes. I know what it's like to be juggling everything, having a deal on fire, having, a borrower calling going, I need approval so I can move my stuff into the garage. I'll never forget that call and real estate agents. So what we really try to do is take everything off of a loan officer's plate that we can, but keeping it personal and consistent. So it really feels like it's a personal touch, but they're busy putting out a fire on another deal. So, we think great relationships don't need to depend on individual discipline. I think we can do systems to help with that.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's one word that you mentioned there that I think we should talk about for a little bit, which is consistency. So, secret weapon for that most lender members underestimate is I think a lot of times consistency.
Absolutely.
It's not about like having one great touch point or one great phone call from somebody. It's about being reliable and showing up and helping them build that consistency into that workflow, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. I think, top producers, some people go, oh, what do they do to be, doing these numbers? They just must be really special. And they are special, but they're special because they are consistent and they're special because they use all of the tools. And I know Eric is top producers. There's not a tool that they don't roll out that they're like, this is cool. I'm going to use it. I'm going to figure out how it works for my business. And then they use it consistently. And, that's kind of what they do.
Yeah, yeah. And that was a great segue into, we're gonna pop over to Erica and what we're gonna talk with her about. So let me bring you in here. Waterstone obviously is not a small operation. You carry the title of VP of Sales Optimization. And that tells me that your job is probably essentially looking to make the whole machine run well, not just individual producers. It's more about your entire operation. Share with us how Usherpa entered the picture for you.
We partnered with Usherpa, I believe it was about 4 years ago, possibly going on
So,
5. We had
so
been with another CRM platform, and we were just exploring our options. And Usherpa is probably what I would say the perfect size for someone like me. I've got a million questions. I want to know how everything works. I'd like to chat with my the powers that be at the organizations I partner with. So Chris and I are quite close and speak frequently, but in a good way. We're constantly sharing ideas and sort of talking about what is the next thing that we have to tackle. So we moved over to the Usherpa platform, and like she said, it's the CRM is an integral part of any lending organization. You have to have it. We automate communications to people in the prospect stage, in process stage, post close, realtors. We do both text and email to folks. And like she'd said, some of this stuff is just this is the low hanging fruit. If you're not doing that bare minimum, that automated piece of it to save your loan officer's time, we all know the loan officers need to be out there having conversations, making phone calls. They're the relationship builders. We're in the background trying to make sure that their lives are just a little bit easier, trying to kind of automate the things that we can so they can do the things that you can't automate in this world. So, a wonderful relationship so far, and it continues to build. As we first met, we kind of jumped on and we were doing things, and Chris and I talk frequently, and we have ideas and thoughts, and things change, and their team is flexible and they listen and we work together to try to just improve the platform to again always try to make it easier for the loan officers to do what they have to do day to day.
Absolutely. And you said something that made me think of something that we hear from a lot of our lender members that there sometimes is this gap between like top producers and what they very naturally happens for them, kind of like what they're meant to do. And then what the rest of your team actually does for them. How have you used Usherpa? How does Usherpa kind of like close that gap of what the LOs do and what your team does, and everybody kind of staying on that same page?
That probably goes back to the automation again. If a loan officer was needed to call or text every person that's party to a transaction every time something moves along, if they had to do that manually, they'd have no time to do the prospecting,
Right.
the
Get
functions of
additional
their job,
business
which is
then.
the most important part of their
Yeah.
job. They have the people that are the excellent processors, and we've talked about processing and how key they are to a team. They've got the other support members, but they need to constantly be building that pipeline. So if we can have a system that when they get these folks into our environment, we can communicate with them effectively, efficiently. We can monitor communications. We can track, notes, and we can adjust campaigns based on their needs or where they're at in their buying journey. Chris mentioned personalization a lot too. We're fortunate because we've worked to develop several campaigns that are very just, I guess, aligned with Waterstone and our voice and our brand and what a borrower means to us. They're just not simply a transaction. These are people that we want to form relationships that last a lifetime. So everything that we're communicating and automating through the system, while it may be similar, there's a lot of personal touches to it that I feel like just lift up our communications compared to some of I'm not trying to compare myself to others, but a little bit. I think we do a good job of doing that, but
Yeah.
Yeah,
I've always heard that.
absolutely.
Always heard that about Waterstone. And you do have a very, very quality team at Waterstone and always.
the heart, I think we bring heart. We're not a
I
big
agree.
person, but we're not small, and we take it seriously. So
Yep,
So,
absolutely. And they use our engine. I mean, they use some of the things that we do that really make a lot of sense, but then supplement that with using our engine with, like Erica said, the Waterstone message,
mhm.
especially to some critical touch points. And they've just plugged them into our system and it just runs just like everything else. Because that's one thing, we do bring a lot of content to the table because
Oh yeah.
I know there's also a lot of, smaller companies out there that don't have a larger team. So we can kind of do both. We can really be 100% content or a hybrid like we are with Waterstone.
We
well, and that
use a
makes,
lot of their content, Faith. We do, because they've got emails that could go out on a regular basis that are like tips or tricks for realtors, like power tools and, essential hacks. Maybe it's just, borrower
educating.
tips for home ownership. A lot of that stuff we love. We just complement their materials with some of
Hmm.
our own sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it
So,
works really well.
Chris, everybody is trying to replicate, the top producers and give everybody the tool that they need to make it easy for everybody to be more like them. I imagine you see that all the way across your lender base that you work with. So, outside of what we just talked about, what are the other things? What does it actually look like when it really works that way?
When you are replicating the habits of top producers.
Yeah.
Um, well, I think one is that was kind of how Usherpa was designed, is myself and the other founder. He was a loan officer, I was his processor. So we were a good team. And you go to the sales rallies, you go to the conferences, and you get this rah idea, but then you go back and realistically, how many are going to implement it? And I'll use an example of thank you cards. Usherpa mails a thank you postcard to every customer post close. It's just something because top producers have been doing that forever, right? I mean, I can't replace taking that, note card and handwriting. It was so great, working with you. And oh my gosh, your baby is so cute. And, I love that funny joke that they did. I mean, we can't replace that. But, a top producer can still do that. But so we try to automate things like that, the thank you card, the closing gift, and obviously the consistent engagement from the very first touch all the way through the processing of the loan. And like I always say, top producers have known this. Even before there were systems that did this, and Faith, you did loans, that communication is critical. No news is not good news. It doesn't matter if you're a first-time home buyer or this is your third or fourth home. A lot of things right on that. So do a good job during the process, take care of them, communicate, and then you have to stay in touch. And that I think is just, you've got to stay in touch with your referral partners and you've got to find a system that will regularly stay in touch for the long haul to your past
Mhm.
customers. because I can't tell you how many stories I get where I just refied my prospect from 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Or one of the things we do on our engagement calls is we tell them, you had a prospect that converted from 10 years ago. So
Yeah.
it's just that kind of goes back to that consistent and the long time. And then what we do is we have a system called pipelines, which Erica and the team at Waterstone really rolled up their sleeves, gave us a lot of feedback. And that is kind of that workflow, those top habits, in addition to the automation, do the top producers do. And then what we can do is push it out to the rest of the team. So, like on Erica's side, they might have a loan officer who's knocking it out of the park with a certain prospect workflow. I do this and I do this and I do this. We can put
Mhm.
it into pipelines, push it to all of them, and then they're all increasing their conversion ratio. So there is the staying in touch and the automation, but it is also automating those habits
Yeah.
where I can't replace a call, but I can sure tell every loan officer in the organization to make
Yeah.
that call, and then there's
Oh,
reports to hold them accountable.
yeah, you're finding those best practices that work for you as an organization and making it really easy for everyone else to kind of like fall in line really without thinking about it.
Chris,
Erica,
before you move on, Faith, that one, there was one of our most recent touch points we had had. You had showed us that we had a loan from a customer that was in our database from, I think, 15 years ago.
Yep.
And because of continued touches and newsletters or updates, that person came back in and did another loan. They had not done a loan. There was nothing in process. There was no other communication between him, that borrower, and the loan officer. It just,
it's
it
amazing.
proves the
It
point
is
is
amazing.
It's
you just have to
amazing with
keep doing it.
everything else out there and everybody else I know. I get a lot of solicitation in my
Oh,
mailbox
yeah.
single week, which goes into a circular bin in my house. Because I know who I would go back to. It's like
Yeah,
those relationships really do matter when it's
they
something
do.
personal. Yeah. Erica, I would love to talk with you about something that I feel like you're very passionate about in just talking to you this morning. Most technology fails, not because it's necessarily bad technology, but it fails because of what happens after you've bought it. I feel like we hear this over and over in our network that it's like, well, we rolled it out, but it didn't really work. What, in your experience, have you learned about that? And do you have anything that you do every single time you do something like that that it actually takes to get that tool adopted?
A lot. That's a very key part of my job is number one, do we have the right tools in our tech stack and are people using them and what can we do to support them to get the most out of the tools that we have in our arsenal? When we roll out a tool, generally I want a champion. I want someone from my team that I kind of bring on board a little bit earlier, typically a top producer, someone who's well
Gotcha.
respected by other loan officers. I need them to see it because I mean I think I'm pretty cool. I've been doing this a long time. I'm a smart cookie. I'm not a loan officer, and I know it, and that's fair. And I know that loan officers typically want to hear from their peers, and they respect and understand. I guess
Mm,
and just they're more likely to give something a chance if that's putting up 50 million a year is using a tool that I suggest versus if I just say, hey, this will make your life easier. So number one, champions is always a thing. Onboarding is not a one and done. It's you're constantly looking to see who's in the system, what's working for them, going back to those people, seeing if there's pain points, eliminating pain points. We use single sign-on at our organization to make it as easy as possible for everybody to get into every tool quickly, not have to remember passwords, things of that nature. We have tons of integrations so that like our loan origination systems obviously talking to Usherpa, which is pretty par for the course with the CRM system. You got to make it as easy as possible. You also have to ensure that it's intuitive. Loan officers, and no offense to any loan officers listening, the complications are just going to make them turn away and go someplace else. So, as simple and straightforward as possible in that. And then I guess again, consistency. It's the same thing I would do if I was prospecting as a loan officer. I have to keep up and I need to constantly stay in front of people, remind them how to do stuff, provide the support, training, just be there so that when they do I don't know, maybe they want to try another feature like the pipelines that Chris had mentioned. That's an amazing
yeah.
feature, but you got to keep getting in front of them with these things. Otherwise, the day-to-day of a salesperson is different than the day-to-day of a me. So I gotta constantly make sure that I'm kind of nosing my way in there saying, hey, I got something that'll help you. So
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that it's so true that when you hear, it's kind of like kids, right? Their parents can tell them something, and somebody else that they trust can come in and use the exact same words and they listen
yeah,
differently.
Oh yeah.
It's
100%.
it's just hearing it from a different voice that means something different from you sometimes does make the difference. I love how you framed that up. Technology really doesn't necessarily transform organizations. It's really the leaders behind the scenes, like Erica. I can tell you're one of those people that really do that. So I feel like leaders do that, not necessarily the technology. Chris, from your
And but also just listening to the voice of the loan officer. If I'm off and they're telling me it doesn't work, I gotta hear it. Like you gotta be
well,
prepared to
yeah.
know that this isn't flying, it's not helping me, you did it wrong. Okay, fix it. So
Well, that's a great leader, though. Not only are you
Yeah.
listening to them, you're hearing them at the
oh,
same time and taking it seriously. I think
trying.
that is a big deal. When they see you do that, they're going to trust you even more.
I hope
Um,
so. That's the goal.
yes, yes, I believe that is true. Chris, from your seat, what separates a lender member that, gets real value, like Waterstone obviously has from Usherpa, from one that like never fully gets, for some reason, just never fully gets off the ground?
Yeah. I think first and foremost, I think the mindset that a CRM is critical really helps. And, that was kind of when Erica and I were talking because it's a relationship-based business. Your
Yes.
CRM is what manages the relationships and keeps those going. So, yes, we have to have an LOS, right? If no LOS, nobody gets paid. But a CRM is really a critical piece of technology. So, I think first and foremost, understanding how critical that is to have in place, and then really viewing it as a partnership, not a vendor. Because I tell my team every single day, everyone at Usurper, my job is to do loans. Your job is to do loans. If none of
Yeah.
us do loans, right, none of us have a job. So how do we really partner with clients? So one, I think understanding the importance of a CRM and that it's not an expense line. It is a revenue generating system. That fifth prospect from 15 years ago would have never come back if somebody hadn't stayed in touch, right? And especially with what's going on in the servicing industry, where we'll not even go there, but those relationships that the loan officers built and created first and foremost are super critical. So I think doing that and then having an executive sponsor. I need to have somebody to reach out to so we can kind of go, hey, we've got this great idea. Cadence calls. We're on calls with Erica and team every other week. We have a
Mhm.
project board that we keep together. And, I will also come to them going, hey, I've got another client who's doing this and having some success, so where we collaborate or they go, or sometimes, that an LO is struggling with something, we figure out again how to fix it. So I think, having that constant communication, having that true partnership. And then one of the things that we do is we create these very robust engagement reports. We provide some to Erica and her team every month, but all of our enterprise clients, we get those at least quarterly and try to get on, strategy calls and go over the success and the metrics and what's working and what's not working. And then we can kind of measure it. So I think that really helps. So, really kind of a focused onboarding. And then, that partnership, I think, is kind of really where there is success. I mean, I have some enterprise clients where, I can't get a hold of them.
Yeah, we understand that.
Yes,
And
yes.
happens in
Yeah,
any
Chris
sales.
and I text each other just like, hey, do you got a minute? Like, well, we're both busy, so sometimes that just is the fastest way
Yeah.
to ask a
Yeah.
quick question. And I'm not saying that she needs to do that for every single person. I probably overuse that, but she's very
No,
kind and
I
receptive.
guarantee you, leadership at my enterprise, of my clients, I am more than happy to be texting with for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, and if that's how it works, that's how it
Yeah,
works for us. Do you want to make it work
yeah,
for
Well, sometimes it's just simply a happy birthday or congratulations. So it's not always like, hey, I need something either, Chris. So
that's true. That is true. And sometimes we like do little fun little unicorn emojis, and one of us is having a bad day.
Uh-huh. And she sends me pictures of her dogs because that always like, brightens my day. So
Yeah.
mhm.
Isn't it wonderful? I love it when I see those types of things happen. We have a good seat for seeing that with our partners and our lenders that we get to see that
Yeah.
often, and it makes all of our hearts happy over here at TMC too when we see that happen. Erica, if you were talking to a fellow VP or COO at another lender member who just signed a new technology contract, and, obviously, if they're signing a new technology contract, they want to make it stick. What is the most important thing that you would share with them that they should do?
Hmm. Well, I mean, they have to know what they're trying to accomplish. I mean, there's a lot of shiny tools. There's a lot of bright, shiny things out there. You can sign up for everything, but unless you know how it's gonna really fit into your existing process, and it's not gonna add additional, I guess, frustration, pain points, confusion. Have clear goals in mind before we're signing things, I think is what I would say.
Yeah. Yeah, I think mapping it out and having that plan is always important.
And what are your processes for seeing that you're effectively onboarding, you effectively getting that system up and running? You can't just set it and forget it. It's kind of like, okay, we did this thing. Now let's go back to the thing we do work. Did it not work? What do we need to change? It's being flexible and
I think during the pandemic and when business was really, really heavy, I think a lot of people went after the shiny object. I'd have to say that I feel like a lot of people have got a lot more realistic about that and the dollars spent and everything now,
Yeah,
and are
agree.
that's true.
Mhm.
coming at it
More
from.
so now than ever, I think, for sure.
I would
Yeah.
agree with that. I would agree with that. Let's close out. Believe it or not, we're under 5 minutes left. It just has flown
Time
by.
flies when you're having fun.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Let's close out on a topic that everybody's talking about right now. I know we'll be talking about it at our conference in September a lot, AI. Because there's a version of AI in mortgage that is maybe really exciting. And then there's kind of a version of when people talk about AI in mortgage that I would say that they're worried maybe a little bit about. Eric, I would love it if you could share how Waterstone is thinking about AI when it comes to the borrower and then your referral partner relationships that you have as well.
I would think the consensus that I feel from my colleagues is it's AI is intended to improve efficiency, help you. It's not a replacement for human interaction, for relationship. The mortgage being the most important thing that somebody ever financially enters in their life cannot just be relegated to automation of a robot, I think in most cases. Yes, there's time and place for some of that, but using AI to improve existing processes, find ways to do things quicker, maybe get better insights or data to guide decisions. But I don't think it's an end all be all replacement for the loan officers and the talent and the experience and what they do for a borrower. I don't think that's ever going to go away. So I think all our AI kind of evaluations are where is it going to lift us up?
Yep.
I think fabulous. Chris, how is Usherpa approaching AI? And how specifically are you thinking about helping LOs use it and have better conversations and maybe more conversations rather than fewer of
Yeah.
them?
Absolutely. We're kind of on the same AI bandwagon as Erica, where we think AI should strengthen the relationships, not replace them, and streamline a loan officer's workflow because they are busy. So help them have a better idea of who to talk to and why do I want to be talking to this person, and maybe even so more like that. It's just like who to contact, why do I want to contact them, and then take the current fairly targeted marketing that we have, right, from prospects, where they are on the loan cycle, or if they're a referral partner, how do we even take that and make that a little bit more targeted? Maybe you're having a conversation about a cash out refi for these people, or you're having, a conversation about, something different. So a little bit more targeted engagement. And then the other thing where we're doing AI is how do we help the lean marketing team streamline what they do on a
Yeah.
daily basis, with some kind of cool integrations and different things like that. Because, they've got a lot going on and they've got loan officers coming to them all the time wanting, this, that, and the other thing. So how do we use AI to make their lives better too?
Yeah,
Scale.
every piece kind of attaches to another. It's not like a one person deal. It definitely mortgage is a team sport. I always say
Yes,
it is.
it
Um,
is. I love that.
yeah, we believe the same. AI should make a relationship more human, not less. If it's doing things the right way, the borrower maybe never even knows that it was involved in some instances. It just escalates and highlights the conversations to have better conversations, human to human. So that's kind of what we here at TMC believe, and it's the news that we're trying to share and hold people to as well. So believe it or not, that's a wrap of today's sip.
I
Wow.
feel like we just joined the call.
I
I
know.
know.
I feel like I should talk to you ladies all the time. Thank you very much to Chris and Usherpa for sponsoring this conversation, and to both of you for bringing really practical, honest perspectives on this topic, which the whole industry is really navigating right now. If you walk away with one thing today, we hope it's this, that technology is only as good as the culture that surrounds it. We'll be
Like
back
that.
yeah, we'll be back
Agree.
next Tuesday, June 23rd at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, for our TMC community, and then live at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, with the broader industry on LinkedIn. If you're not a TMC member yet, number one, you should be. You want to learn more about that, either reach out to me directly or Jody Hall, who normally facilitates this call. And cheers to you. I forgot my cup. Dang it.
Oh, I've got some water here.
Cheers to you both.
Cheers.
And we'll see you all next time on the SIP. Thank you so much, Chris. Thank you so much, Erica. It was
Thank
great
you, Faith.
Thank you. It
today.
Thanks,
was my
Faith. And
pleasure.
thanks, Erica, for joining me.
Of course. Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye.